So, good morning. Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to all the participants joining us today for this online event, the first online event, the English session. I extend my sincere gratitude to MSCA unit in DG EURAXESS for the invaluable support. Today's interactive session promises to be enlightening as we explore the comprehensive opportunities by Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions under Pillar 1 in Horizon Europe. So I'm Dr. Ahmed Malel, honored to serve as Associate Professor and Regional Representative for EURAXESS Africa with my colleague Yedel Fana. He is based in Addis Ababa. We are both regional representatives for EURAXESS Africa. So special appreciation goes to our estimated speaker for today, Dr. Maruf Sani from Nigeria. And please note that questions should be submitted via Zoom. The webinar will be recorded, so we will have a recording video for this webinar, and also the slides too. And without further ado, I invite my colleague, Dr. Yedel Fana, to present EURAXESS Africa services before moving to our Dr. Maruf for MSCA opportunities for today. Fana, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you, my colleague Ahmed, for your kind introduction. Can you see my slides, Ahmed?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Yedel Fana Sattarge. I'm a regional representative to EURAXESS Africa, along with my colleague Ahmed. Welcome everybody to Marie Skłodowska-Curie Actions Africa Info Session webinar. I'm based at Addis Ababa. I'm also associate professor and researcher at Addis Ababa University Center for Environmental Science. My colleague Ahmed is based in Tunisia. He's also associate professor at the University of Sousse. So we are based in two countries. Of course, we work for all African countries, for the whole continent, as much as we can. We are working for a big continent. Let me explain a little bit about EURAXESS Worldwide, who we are. As you probably know, in our previous webinars or physical events, EURAXESS Worldwide is an EU initiative which is supported by European Commission. It's all-in-one networking platform and information tool for talented and motivated, excellent researchers in Africa on the move to explore and develop careers in Europe. For instance, for EURAXESS Africa case, we are part of the EURAXESS Worldwide. EURAXESS Worldwide links researchers in worldwide, including Africa, to Europe to foster scientific collaborations among researchers. All services of EURAXESS are free of charge. We provide free access to information about research in Europe and opportunities for research funding, including European Research Council and a number of other Horizon Europe programs. We provide practical tips to pursue scientific careers in Europe, international collaboration and trans-mobility opportunities, for example, through MSCA networks, postdoctoral fellowships, doctoral networks, staff exchange mobilities. Through this, we support the international collaborations. This network is open to all nationalities, to all research fields, to all disciplines, and at all levels. This is a picture, the one in the left top. As you can see, is a worldwide team. We gather around mid-April this year for training. We serve in 9 hubs. Of course, we have North America hub, we have Latin America and the Caribbean, we have Indian, we have China, South Korea, Japan, Asia, New Zealand, and Australia. Of course, we have also EURAXESS Africa. EURAXESS Africa is one of the youngest hub among EURAXESS Worldwide. EURAXESS Worldwide established in 2013. And so far, we have 120,000 researchers who are informed regularly by EURAXESS worldwide team worldwide. We have organized over 2,300 events, both in person and online events or webinars like this. We have counted over 2 million visitors on our EURAXESS portal. So our tool is, we have a portal, we have social medias in our portal, we have a jobs and funding section where you find thousands, maybe in 10,000 jobs every day. We have a partnering tool and hosting, for example, for MSCA postdoctoral fellowship, you need to have a hosting in EU member states or in associated countries. So you could easily find your partner, your hosting institute through this portal. And again, in this portal, you could find also career developments. There are a number of pre-recorded videos that helps you to improve your career. Again, in this portal, you could also find information and assistance through EURAXESS services centers all over the world. And again, in this portal, you could also find EURAXESS national portals, both in worldwide as well as in particular to European country where you want to travel or where you want to study or you want to do your research. And again, under EURAXESS portal, you could find EURAXESS worldwide, and one of these worldwide hub is EURAXESS Africa. So you are researcher from Africa, you are invited to frequently visit our website. So this is the current phase of EURAXESS worldwide portal. Every time they upgrade it. Now it looks like this. It has a lot of information, as you can see from the homepage. It has job and opportunities. It has information on living and working in Europe, career development initiatives, networks, a lot of networks, as you can see from this slide. So I can only invite you to visit this portal. It has a lot of information. It's a very useful portal. So again, under this, as I already mentioned, you have worldwide Africa or EURAXESS Africa. When you click on the middle in EURAXESS Africa, you'll see a lot of services of EURAXESS Africa. What are our tasks? What are our services as a regional representative to EURAXESS Africa? So as I said, we are young, but we are really doing great. One of our main tasks is management and development of EURAXESS Africa network, researchers network. We build partnership with African research institutions and organizations. We promote research mobility between Africa and Europe. We support for African researchers. We provide information, we advise and assist African researchers who travel to Europe for research or for study. We support career development activities. We organize grant writing workshops in person and online workshops. We invite experts. We invite MSCA, ERC fellows. We invite grantees of different Horizon Europe initiatives. So we really try to support African researchers as much as we can by organizing a lot of career development activities. We promote European research opportunities to Africa, raising awareness of European research opportunities among African researchers and research institutions. We collaborate with different African research institutions. We organize events in collaboration and co-hosting with these different African research institutions. Support participation of African researchers in European research projects, Pillar 1 and 2 in Horizon Europe. Pillar 1 includes MSCA and ERC. In Pillar 2, we have Horizon Europe Africa Initiative. 1 and 2 already passed. We are also waiting for Africa Initiative 3 and Mediterranean Initiative. So we are here to increase the African research participation in this Horizon Europe initiatives. We're reinforcing the networking with all R&I African actors, organize event activities that promote networking and collaboration, facilitate exchange of information and expertise between the two continents, Africa and Europe. Since its establishment in 2022, we have organized a number of physical events. These are some of the very interesting pictures taken during these events. As you can see here is a workshop organized and co-organized in Kenya and in Morocco. These are pictures taken in Egypt, a very big event, and also in South Africa. As you can see, so many people are attending these workshops, this Horizon Europe Info session, and practical session, or EURAXESS Africa info session. This picture is taken in last year, in 2023, in a workshop organized in Cairo. As you can see, it's a very big workshop. This is in Rwanda. This is in Kenya, Nairobi. This is in Addis Ababa, again in 2023. This one is in South Africa. Of course, in 2023, we organized 3 events in South Africa alone in different universities. This one is in Cape Town. This is in Walter Sisulu University. This is in Vaal University of Technology. This, of course, organized in Morocco in October 2023. As you can see, there's a lot of crowd. This is particularly for Mary Skłodowska-Curie Actions Promotion Workshop organized in Algeria, October 2023. This, of course, the one I'm attended this year. Is the first physical event we organized at Addis Ababa University. More than 300 people have attended this workshop. These are actually the picture taken during the practical session. More than 100 people have attended our practical session, or our EURAXESS and EURAXESS Worldwide, EURAXESS Africa, and tender and funding portal navigation for our participants. I would like also to tell you that in 2024, we have planned a number of webinars that are focused on EURAXESS Africa Day, Horizon Europe Info Day, and specific to ERC grants, European Research Council grants. We had this last week, both in English and in French. And this week we have MSCA Postgraduate Fellowship and Doctoral Fellowship, both in English and in French. The French will come later this week. And we have also a number of webinars that we plan to host this year. So if you already subscribe to EURAXESS Africa, you will get a notification. If not yet subscribe to our database, please do it right after this workshop. All right, these are face-to-face workshop we planned for this year. We had already a couple of face-to-face workshops so far for this year, and we have planned a number of other physical workshops. We plan in Hawassa, Ethiopia. End of July, we have planned in Lagos, Nigeria, in Ghana, in Algeria, in Egypt, in Uganda, South Africa, Senegal, Rwanda. These are planned for this year. And to disseminate our information, to support our researcher community in Africa, we have tools like a website. We have a portal that is dedicated to EURAXESS Africa. So we use this portal. We have a social media, professional medias. We have Facebook. We are in LinkedIn. We are in X. We are in Instagram, in a number of other social medias to disseminate information that we get from different sources. So if you already subscribe to our flash notes or newsletter, you will receive weekly information. We provide information sessions. We have practical workshops like this. So this is how it looks like EURAXESS Africa homepage. And this is when you click on EURAXESS Africa, you immediately get sign up for free membership to EURAXESS Africa. I hope you have already done it. So this is a free service. So please, if you didn't do it yet, I still invite you to subscribe to our database. So the jobs and funding section of EURAXESS Africa looks like this. So you will find doctoral staff exchange, postdoctoral fellowship, grants, and other funding opportunities to your research stay in Europe, which includes hundreds of support schemes for research cooperation, mobility between EURAXESS Worldwide and Europe. In our case, between Africa and Europe. So at the bottom, you will also find a tool that helps you to search for partnering for the member, as well as for hosting organizations. So if you click on Jobs and Opportunities section, you immediately find a window like this. For example, at the moment, we have more than 11,000 jobs. It's a lot, right? So this is, again, it's difficult to identify jobs that actually fit to your career. So instead, you need to filter by keywords. At the left side, you can provide offer type, you can provide country where you want to study or where you want to have a job. you can type research field, research profile, sector, so that it can reduce the possibilities or alternatives, so that you can easily identify the jobs that fit to your career. So this is what you can see from this section. And again, in the partnering tool, you'll find, as I already said, searching for collaborations. So as in all the Horizon Europe, usually member states or associated countries are applying, right? So you need to have a collaborator in Europe or in associated countries. We have only one country in Africa who's associated to Horizon Europe. It is Tunisia. So you need to find a collaborator. You need to find a researcher, professor, help you to write a grant together or a joint proposal. And also you need to find an institution that can host you during your postdoctoral stay in Europe. So this section will help you search the member or the professor, researcher, as well as the hosting organization. So this is very, very useful section of the portal. So you can also access EURAXESS. In addition to EURAXESS, you could also access Enterprise Europe Network for non-academic partners in Europe. You could also find partner search in funding and tender opportunity portals. It's a different portal, but you could still find a partner, or you could find host institution in that portal. You could find MSCA Net. It's another platform that helps you to connect with European researchers and institutions. Other useful contacts like MSCA national contact points in Europe and worldwide. MSCA Alumni Association, it also really helps you to find hosting organization in person. You could also still find EURAXESS hubs for hosting, to search for hosting. So Africa news section looks like this. We post a number of news. Nearly every day we post at least one news in our portal. It includes doctoral, postdoctoral, and staff exchange, and also grant information. That definitely helps to Africa researchers, since our purpose, our primary target is Africa researchers, to support Africa researchers in many ways. So we get news from headquarters in Brussels through our program coordinator. We disseminate information that we get from EU delegations, particularly to Africa Union, as well as other African country delegations. We disseminate information that we get from member states in Europe and also associated countries, from Africa Union, member states, from different embassies. For example, in Addis Ababa, it's a stay for a number of EU and AU member states. So if you get any information that helps to Africa researchers, we disseminate in our platform. So our partners are also our source of information. So this is how our event section looks like. You could find past events, both in-person and physical events. You could see also ongoing events like today's event, live streaming in our YouTube channel. We have also events, upcoming events, future events. So you better frequently visit this portal for more events that helps you to develop your career. So, for example, in events like this, we invite MSc fellow. Today we have Dr. Maruf Sani from Nigeria. We also invite experts sometimes from MSCA unit in headquarters in Brussels. We invite awardees, previous awardees of Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe, and a number of other Horizon Europe initiatives. We invite higher officials from the government, from NGOs, and also invite people from partners. So I would also like to mention the currently opening calls under MSCA. This is really very important. I also advise you to visit the MSCA portal for more details about each of these open calls. The first one I will also introduce here is that MSCA International Cooperation 2024 is already open, and it will stay until 4 September 2024. Unfortunately, only 5 African countries are participating in this bilateral agreement with MSCA. We have Algeria, we have Egypt, we have Morocco, we have Tunisia, and we have South Africa. So if you are a researcher in one of these countries, you can apply for this particular program in MSCA International Cooperation. We have also MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship 2024. 2024. The deadline is 11 September. It's already open. So if you are looking for postdoctoral fellowship in Europe or associated countries, please visit the MSCA portal. Again, MSCA Co-Fund 2024. Again, the deadline is 26 September 2024. You have a couple of months to apply for these 3 calls. And MSCA Doctoral Networks 2024 is also open at the moment, and will stay until 27 November 2027. The details you can find in the MSCA portal. MSCA Staff Exchange 2024, it will open 9 September 2024. It will stay until 5 February 2024. These are the upcoming calls. So I really invite you guys to look at these calls. And as an additional information, I'm almost done, Ahmed, sorry.
Yes,
I also invite my African fellows to look at these additional resources. In addition to EURAXESS Africa, you also need to look at European Commission funding and tender portal, Community Research and Development Information Service, CODIS, Horizon Europe National Contact Points in your country, European Research Council grants specifically, and also MSCA portals specifically for more information about all these opportunities. Additional sources you can find also in this portal. We will share all these slides right after this workshop. So, as I already said, on behalf of the EURAXESS Africa, I really invite you to sign up for free membership to EURAXESS Africa. Of course, everybody already done it, but for newcomers, you are still invited to subscribe. Our motto as EURAXESS Africa is be informed, be proactive, and join us, and let's build a research community in Africa. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, we'll interact during the question and answer section at the end. Thank you, Ahmed. I'm done.
Thanks a lot, my dear Fana, for this great presentation about EURAXESS Africa services. And without further, now we will give the floor to our invited main speaker for today, Dr. Maruf Sani. Maruf is Deputy Director of Research at the National Center of Technology of Management, an agency of the Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology in Nigeria. He has a PhD in public policy from the University of KwaZulu-Natal in Durban in South Africa. He is also NCP National Contract Point for MSCA, and he has a great experience in European projects. So, Dr. Maruf, the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malil. I'm very privileged to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. Thanks a lot, Dr. Mekonnen. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I'm just going to share my screen now. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So, as rightly said, my name is Maruf Sani. I'm a Deputy Director at National Center for Technology Management in Nigeria. I'm also one of the NCPs for MSCA in Nigeria. So today what we are going to be speaking to is opportunities that we could find within the program called MARI Skłodowska-Curie Actions Program. And this is what the outlines look like. Of course, we are going to take ourselves through what exactly does the program constitute. So from there, we are going to go to some figures within the continent. And at the same time, I'm also going to be sharing my experience on that same particular program that I did few years back. Then what are the opportunities that we could find, most especially Africans within the continent. Then again, so I'm also going to be providing some practical advice for potential applicants who might be interested in applying for this particular program. Then I'm going to be rounding up with my concluding remarks. Well, MSCA program is one of the flagship funding program for doctoral education and postdoctoral training for researchers by European Commission. And most especially what they do is to basically fund excellent research, meaning research not just the one that simply looks at the state of the art, but the one that actually goes beyond the state of the art, because that is when it counts. As we soon find out, you will see that this particular program is highly competitive. So a lot of people usually will apply, and few will actually be funded at the end of the day. And the idea around it, the main thing is to actually build Europe's capacity for research and innovation, which I also believe is very relevant to the African continent. So the current program, which is called Horizon Europe, is actually a program that will run between 2021 to 2027. The one that closed was called Horizon 2020, which closed in 2020, I think, if I'm correct. And the budget for the MSCA within the Horizon Europe is around 1.23 billion euro for 2024 alone. You could see amount of funding that's actually devoted to this particular program. That tells you how important the program is. And within the program, we have like quite a number of other programs within MSCA. The first one we are going to be speaking to is called Doctoral Networks. We also have another one called Postdoctoral Fellowship. We have staff exchanges. We have co-fund. We also have MSCA and Citizens. Those are some of the programs that we have under this particular program called MSCA. So starting with the doctoral network, what they do here basically is to work doctoral candidates, providing them with skills and knowledge, through international cooperation, intersectoral and interdisciplinary. Because in many instances, it goes beyond what doctoral candidates will see, behind the four walls of institutions. They are also allowed to go into the, private sector to see how things are actually done. So they get to see practical experience. So this particular program is divided into two. We have the industrial doctorates, which allows, PhD candidates to actually go visit the industry. It's one thing for you to have the theoretical, background. It's another thing for you to actually have practical experience that you could actually apply when you finish your PhD. So what this program is trying to do is to introduce candidates to industry where they could actually learn practical skills. So another one is called joint doctorates, which usually will be jointly, awarded by maybe another institutions different from the candidate's institution. Some other private sector may also be involved in this particular one. So basically, this is what this particular program does, the one called Doctoral Network. So you also have another one called Postdoctoral Fellowship. And what they do here is to allow, PhD, not student this time around, somebody who already got his PhD to carry out their research, abroad. In many instances, they actually do that in Europe or associated, countries, with Horizon Europe. So here, what they do, they have two programs. The first one is called European Postdoctoral Fellowship. Another one is called a Global Postdoctoral, Fellowship. The first one, which I believe is very applicable to African scholars, is that you could apply from anywhere, in fact, anywhere in the world. So including, of course, Africa. So once you apply, you look for a host. And once that is done, if you're accepted, then you can now go apply with your host. And once that is done, then you can, if you are chosen, then they get to fund everything. So in this case now, all the research projects will actually will be funded. But in case of Global Postdoctoral Fellowship, this is only open to European nationals or somebody who has been in Europe for quite some time. And they could actually, apply. It's also applicable to associated, countries. I mean, majority of the countries in Africa are actually third country. Very few are associated countries. We'll get to see more about that later. So another program under MSCA is called Staff Exchanges. And what this does is that it funds such short-term international and intersectoral exchanges of staff members. Meaning, if you're already working in a particular place, you can actually apply to this program. And if you are chosen, you get to, again, experience practical, knowledge wherever you are hosted. So it's also open to, international consortia of universities. So meaning university, private sector, SMEs who actually collaborate, form a consortium where they could actually apply for this particular program. Meaning it's not an individual program. You first need to form what they call a consortium. And once that is done, then you can apply for this particular program. There's another one called co-fund, which again deals with doctoral or postdoctoral research programs. The idea is that they don't get the European Commission don't get to organizations for you to be able to fund this particular program. Meaning, if you have institutions who have the capability to be able to fund such programs, they can collaborate with the European Commission, whereby funds will be provided for doctoral programs as well as postdoctoral programs. Again, this could also be individual programs. What happens here is that once the fund is granted, there will be an advert whereby people will be calling to submit applications. So if you are a doctoral student, you could apply. If you're also postdoctoral student, you could also apply.
Dr. Maruf, sorry, I think there is a problem with your connection. If you can just try to see your internet connection, because your internet connection is not stable. So, Dr. Maruf, if you hear us, just try to reconnect. Yeah, sorry for that. Just we are waiting for Dr. Maruf. Will come with us, and I think with the good internet connection, we can continue this useful webinar. Fana, are you here?
Yes. I hope
Okay.
they will come back.
No problem. It's okay. Let's wait for Dr. Maruf. As already mentioned by in your presentation, you are already present some deadline for MSCA calls.
Yes.
I think we will have the opportunity after this webinar to do live demonstration in the portal, funding and tender opportunities portal, and we will see together how to find all the call MSCA calls in the portal and how to apply. This is the main goal of this webinar. And Dr. Maruf, are you there with us?
I'm back now. So
Your mic,
let me
please.
put off the video. Maybe that will manage the bandwidth.
Yes.
Yes. You can do that. Just deactivate your video and share your screen, please.
Yeah.
And you can continue now. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So
yeah, go ahead.
Can you all see my my screen?
Yes, it's okay.
Oh, good.
It's okay.
So sorry about that. So that was my connection, misbehaving. So anyway, so where we have was how exactly do we apply? So one way of applying will be to check a particular platform called Funding and Tender Opportunities Portal. I'm happy Dr. Sadat already showed us some of how we can navigate this particular platform. So I will also encourage us, whoever might be interested in doing this, to also go to that particular platform. It has virtually everything that you will need, to apply for any of the programs, even beyond MSCA. Then again, of course, EURAXESS is also a wonderful platform that you can also, try to visit. And beyond just visiting it, I will also encourage you to also subscribe so that you could get updates on what's going on that particular platform. So visit this every now and then to see the opportunities that you have. I also noticed that somebody was asking that whether EURAXESS, provide maybe something like somebody who might mentor them in trying to shape their proposals. I will also allow, Dr. Ahmed to respond to that later, but maybe in the meantime, one other thing you could do, is to also consult your national contact points in your country and see whether they could actually be of help, because that's one of the reasons why NCP is actually established. The idea is to be able to help, applicants to navigate through the application process so that they can be successful at the end of the day. So I would advise you to contact your national contact point and see if they could be of help. So one good thing about MSCA is that it's open to all fields, all disciplines. In fact, if you are in music, it's open. Not to say that music is not important. I'm just saying that it covers virtually everywhere. So if it's in sciences, with natural sciences, with social sciences, economic science, any field you could think of, you could actually apply, for MSc, and that's what actually makes it interesting. Another interesting point that we need to share for MSCA is that whatever you propose, once they agree to fund you, they will fund 100% of whatever it is that you are proposing, no matter how big it is. Of course, they're going to ask you to review, maybe they will, but in many instances, they fund 100% of whatever it is you are proposing, in your proposal. So the idea is that you get fund for everything that you actually need to do. So the idea is that, again, too, the funding you are going to be getting beyond the one that will fund your research, they also provide living allowances. They also provide mobility allowances. They also provide the one they call the family allowances, meaning if you would like to, for instance, even take your family with you to Europe, this is also allowed. You could actually, do that. Then they also have the one they call research, training, and management cost, which in this case will be, co-funded by your host institution and European, Commission. So all these opportunities are there when you apply for MSCA, and once you are choosing, you get to benefit from all this. I also understand doctors that also, kind of showed this to us earlier, for doctoral network, the call opened in 29th of May, and it's going to close on 27th of November this year. So for the postdoctoral fellowship, it opened on 23rd of April. It's going to close on 11th September. But one thing I'm going to call your attention to is that don't be deceived by the the number of what they call it now, or how long you may need the deadline is. This is not actually exactly correct. The reason is this: it takes a lot of procedures or process before you get to that deadline. For instance, now, if you are going to apply for postdoctoral fellowship, you must be looking for your host by now. And host is not something that comes, easily. You have to check all the portals, go to EURAXESS, you may want to check there. Then you may also want to, check European Commission portal, where you could actually find hosts or find some collaborators on that particular program. So I wouldn't want you to wait until around September before you start applying. So you should start now if you're actually interested. And this is applicable to all the programs that you can see on the screen, whether it's staff exchanges, co-fund, doctoral networks, postdoctoral fellowship. All these programs you have to start now. Otherwise, you may actually not be able to meet up with the deadline. So I will advise that we all start now working on that. So what does the proposal template look like for the MSCA, most especially the one with postdoctoral fellowship? What you have are two sections, basically. The first section called Part A. This comprises of the B1. And the B1 is 10 pages. And when they say 10 pages, it's 10 pages. It can't go beyond 10 pages. If it goes beyond 10 pages, the reviewers will not look at the extra page that you may have added. So then again, too, that may also discourage reviewers from looking at your proposal. So they are very strict when it comes to the template. Template simply say 10 pages, so please make it 10 pages. Whatever it is you're going to put on it, it shouldn't go beyond 10 pages. So on that B1 part, what you have is what they call excellence, impact, and implementation. We are also going to discuss this, very soon. Then you also have the B2 section. This has no page limit, but at the same time, I would say you also keep it concise, because remember, some people are going to look at it. If it's too much, it may also again discourage people from looking at your, proposal. So, what this comprises of will be your CV, the one from the institution, the ethical aspect, then the screening, then letter of commitment if it's applicable to your, proposal. So this is what it contains. So how do they evaluate? In terms of excellence, excellence means what is the state of the art that you are looking at. And as I said earlier, this go beyond state of the art. You actually need to look beyond that, because as I said, it's highly competitive. So If you're looking at the state of the art, thousands of people are also looking at the same thing that you're looking at. So you have to be different in one way or the other. So how excellent is your proposal? This is actually judged by 50%. So it takes 50% of the total score that you have. For the impact, what impact do you intend to have at the end of the day? With your proposal, if you are chosen, if you are funded. So that would take 30%. Then implementation, how do you intend to implement this particular output, or the output coming from your R&D? How do you intend to implement it? That takes 20%. Meaning, how do you intend to disseminate? How do you intend to inform people about what you are doing? How do you going to work with output? How it's going to be relevant at the end of the day? So all this will take around 20% of the total score. So what this tells us is that you have to be crafty about what your work is actually addressing, or what your research is addressing. The idea is that it has to be excellent, because that is what the fund is actually all about. Since we are going to be sharing, I believe we are going to be sharing this particular PowerPoint, so I will allow you go through this particular slide that talks about excellence, impact, and implementation. What exactly are they looking for? What it is that they need to see within your proposal? In terms of excellence, they are looking for the innovation. What are the objectives that you are trying to address? How sound is the methodology of your work? What about then the supervision, which has to be a two-way thing? I'm also going to get to that in a minute. Then the impact. How does that enhance the career of the applicants? Does that increase its employability at the end of the day? Implementation, how do you disseminate? What does your work plan looks like? And the rest. So those are the things that you need to take care of when you're writing your proposal. So in a bit, I'll get to how I did mine and where. The idea is to kind of encourage us to be able to navigate some of the processes involved. I did mine in a particular institute called European Institute of Economics and Environment. They have two offices, but where I did mine was in Milan. And my department was Sustainable Earth Modeling Economics. That's the research division for that particular office. So, and my program was looking at transition to a sustainable and inclusive society. My supervisor then was Professor Elena Fedolini, and my project manager was Dr. Maria Casanilli. So again, I will speak to this in a bit. Usually, when you apply, you are going to be given a supervisor. Most especially if you apply for IF. Same thing with doctoral program, then same thing with postdoctoral program. And in fact, co-fund too, you also be given a supervisor. So in this case now, you'll be given one supervisor who will, of course, look at your work. As a matter of fact, you must have started with your supervisor before you apply. Because what usually happens is that the application is bottom up, in the sense that you are going to contact the host will appoint you a supervisor, and the supervisor will now co-write more or less your application. You're going to do of course, you will do the heavy lifting, meaning you start with the concept note, you send it to your supervisor. If he or she will look at it and be sure it's okay, then he or she will also help you as you progress. But one thing I found instructive is that while I was running my own program, they appointed me a project manager. This became very important to my program because remember, Italy is not exactly English-speaking country. So meaning you need to navigate a lot of bureaucracy right there. So it was actually the project manager that was helping me out to do all that. And at the same time, there's so many issues that she will take care of that I don't have to bother. So meaning I have to have 100% focused on my which I think is very important. So you could also ask for the same thing, especially if you are going to non-English speaking countries, even beyond that. Because once you have a project manager, that will allow you, focus on your work 100%. So you don't have any distraction whatsoever. This for me, I find it very useful. I think you could also do the same thing. So this is what the programs looks like. That's the title of my project. I was looking at external knowledge sourcing strategies for environmental innovation in industrial sector of Nigeria. I said earlier that the program is highly competitive. As a matter of fact, I did mine 3 times. The first one was in 2016. Another call came up in 2017. I applied again. Then the third one was in 2019. You could see the scores. even though I was making 84 or thereabout, I was not shortlisted. You find that surprising because, again, that tells you how competitive the program was. Until I was able to reach 89.4, that was when I was, funded for that particular, work. The good thing here is that you could actually represent your proposal. We're also going to get to that, in a bit. I also want to call your attention to this particular area under Horizon Europe 2023. You see how many people actually applied. 27,000 applied, and 4,000 or thereabout was retained for funding. That's around 16.2%. And this is what we are going to get, as we move forward. It may even be lower. As a matter of fact, somebody was sharing his testimonial, I attended a meeting where somebody was sharing testimonial, and he was telling us that, look, he got, I think, 89, if I remember correctly, 89.4, no, it's 94. He got 94 or 90.4, I can't remember exactly, but over 90, and he was not chosen. They had to put him on a reserve list. That's 90% for the love of God. So how would somebody get 90%? I would still not be taken. So that tells you again how competitive this particular program is. So you need to start on time. You need to fine-tune your work, get a very good host. So if you also like to get a good supervisor, that will also be very, very helpful. So this is some of the programs we also did. As I said earlier, one of the things they'll be expecting from your work is output. Then see, when it comes to output, don't be too ambitious. It's good to be ambitious, but in this case, don't be too ambitious, because at the end of the day, you may not be able to manage the output as much as you would love to. So the idea is that be realistic. Set up the ideal. Don't try to impress the reviewer that I'm going to write 5-6 papers in 2 years. You see, the reviewers are trained to see through the BS, so to speak. So if you are being too ambitious, they may just say, no, this guy is not serious, doesn't know what he's saying. So don't be too ambitious, be realistic about whatever you are putting in your proposal, most especially around the outputs and some of the implementation strategies that you are trying to put up. So be moderate. In my own case, I think I told my supervisor I'll be writing like 4 or 5 papers. She was like, are you serious? How are you going to do that in 2 years? He just simply told me that, look, just tell them you write 2 papers. I published 2 papers, that I shouldn't be more than 2. And that was what we did. So put in that we'll be writing 2 papers. Though at the end of the day, I came up with 3. So as we speak now, 2 have been published. The 3rd one is still going through, and we are still trying to see how we can push it through, reviewers process as we speak. So as I said, don't be too ambitious, be realistic. That's actually very important. So what does the number tell us with regards to African participation in MSCA? So over the years, for instance, now since 2014, that people have been applying, we have like 2,300 African researchers from over 45 countries, from 200 or more African organizations that are actually taking part in this particular program over the years, especially since 2014. So who are the high flyers? The first one is actually Stellenbosch University in South Africa. They've been doing very well, followed by University of Ghana, Kenyatta University, Joburg University, then University of Tunis, El Manau in Tunisia. So those are the institutions that are actually doing very well in terms of application from MSCA. So when we break down the figures from South Africa, what we found was that we have like 288 South African researchers that are involved in MSCA programs. And 34 of those organizations participated in 67 MSCA projects. But under Horizon Europe, 3 projects are currently running. And these are being taken by Stellenbosch University and University of Witwatersrand, as beneficiaries. So this is what the numbers look like in terms of participation of African, countries. So under Horizon 2020, we have over 2,000 researchers that actually participated, again, from over 45 different countries. And projects were like around over 100 projects. Then, so when we break down this project, we have like 26 postdoctoral fellowship, 12 doctoral networks, 107 staff exchanges, and the rest. But under Horizon Europe, the figures are still coming in. But so far, so good. We have 29 staff exchanges, 14 doctoral networks, 10 postdoctoral fellowship, 2 co-fund, and 1 MSCA around the citizen in Tunisia. So this is what the figures look like. So one thing I want us to see here is that we can see that the figures are not, so big, so to speak. For instance, now, we only have like 21% of proposals that are retained in Africa, which for me is very, very low. We should be doing, beyond this, which I think this is why one of these webinars is actually very important, to tell ourselves what are the opportunities therein, how do we apply, then how do we make a successful, application. So this number will have to increase as we move on. Once we have a lot of information like this, I'm sure the numbers will increase as we move on. So again, too, one other opportunity that I think we could find within MSCA is what they call Seal of Excellence. And what does this mean? We'll speak to this earlier. I'm going to break it down a bit, maybe in the next 2 or 3 slides. But again, what I'm showing you here is are the numbers. So over the years now, they've given the 5,000, over 5,000, have been awarded Seal of Excellence under MSCA. But in Africa, only 56 were awarded. Again, look at the number. The number is actually very few. So again, I believe maybe after webinars such as this, we'll get to see the number increasing. So what are some rules guiding applications? I told you earlier that you could actually resubmit your applications. And the only people that actually get to submit are people with over 70 scores. Meaning if you have like 70%, you could actually submit your applications again. You're allowed to do that. That was why I was able to resubmit mine, even though I didn't even know at the time. What happened was that it was actually my supervisor who kept on asking me that, okay, Maruf, it's not good now. Can we try again? So again, we'll try. Then the second one too was also not too good. She came back again with an email telling me, Maruf, do you still want to try? I said, okay, yes, let's try it again until web. So it was because the score was actually, above 70. That was why we could resubmit. So if you also want to resubmit, so please aim for a higher mark. Even beyond that, you should actually aim for over 90 so that you could actually be funded. But this for DN, which is doctoral network, your course should be 80% for you to be able to do that. Then for postdoctoral, of course, only PhD candidates will be able to submit proposals. And for them to be able to award you Seal of Excellence, the one I was referring to earlier, your score must be above 85. You see, maybe this was why I didn't actually get that, when I applied earlier. So your score must be above 85% before you could actually get, Seal of Excellence. I will tell you how important the Seal of Excellence is as we move on. So the next thing here is that the candidates with maximum of 8 years experience will be eligible. This is for postdoctoral, meaning 8 years, the maximum is 8 years after you've obtained your PhD. That is when you actually apply for the postdoctoral, fellowship. So you should mind that. Look at when you obtain your PhD. Look at when the call is being made. One good thing about MSCA again is that if you have a career break, that number will be deducted from that 8 years. Meaning you could actually have obtained your PhD degree over 8 years ago, and you still be able to apply. For instance, now, if somebody was in a maternity or paternity, that will actually be deducted. If you're also on sick leave, that will also be deducted from that particular time. So let's go back to that Seal of Excellence that I was trying to refer you to. The good thing about Seal of Excellence is that we have so many countries that are actually open, meaning once you have that Seal of Excellence, you can actually submit to their research funding agency, and they will take your proposal. You know why? The reason is that they believe the proposal has already gone through a review process, so they don't have to do it again. You see, for instance, now if you apply to Cyprus and you couldn't make the cuts with the European Commission, what that means is that you can actually submit it to their research funding agency and you'll be taken, because their program is open to all nationals. So meaning anybody could actually apply. But first, you have to apply to the country as the host. That's the precondition. You must have applied to the host, to the country as the host. So once they are the host, then they will be able to take it when they have the Seal of Excellence. Same thing is also happening in Czech Republic. If you also have Seal of Excellence, you could also apply to them and you will be taken. So other countries that also have the same program, Belgium, Ireland, France, Austria, as you can see on my screen. So these other countries also have the same program. So meaning, even if you don't make the cut, the European Commission, you could also still be funded, by some of these countries, which for me is a very good thing. Because as I said, that particular program is competitive, so they usually don't fund, everybody that apply, obviously. So again, Sorbonne University in France is actually making a call now as we speak for somebody with seal of excellence to actually apply to Sorbonne University. So this is one of the opportunities they're in. So if you don't make the cut, you could actually apply to this university. Again, too, you must have made France your host, country before you can actually apply to this particular one. This is the one I was telling us earlier. Let me even look at look at the scores. So this particular person, he actually applied from third country. He applied from Ecuador to Germany. So he scored 92.4. This was what I was telling you about earlier. He scored 92.4, and yet he couldn't make the cut. But good enough for him. Maybe somebody dropped off at some point, so he was called back, and so they put him on the reserve list. He was called back, and he was given the grant eventually. So as we speak now, he's already in Germany, doing this particular program. So that tells you how serious the program is. But of course, it doesn't mean that it cannot be done. If some people are doing it, it means we can also do it. So what are the opportunities therein within this particular program? You see, one thing you get to see if you are coming from Africa is that once you get to Europe, you are exposed to a lot of skills, practical skills, that will actually benefit you, not as a researcher, but that will make you an independent researcher, because that's the whole idea. Because for instance, now the individual fellowships actually to train independent researchers, So what you get here are skills and competencies. That's what they call a secondment. So if you're also interested in secondment, you can put that in your application. You must have done that at the application level. You put it down, you say, okay, I have some other places beyond my host country, host organization. I have some other places that I would like to visit to carry out my research. So it's also allowed. But you must have put it in your application ab initio that, okay, I will be interested in this particular, maybe to carry out, some lab work. I'll be interested in this particular area. I would like to visit this particular. So you put it there. So once you are funded, you are allowed to go to that particular lab to do your test. So you get to see, then of course, international mobility. As I said earlier on, you get to move to Europe if you apply for this individual, MSCA fellowship. You get to Europe to do your research. So that allows you, to be mobile. And of course, once you are mobile, a lot of things happen along the way. Once you are there, you are exposed to a lot of opportunities. You get to cooperate with big scholars that will actually allow you to to collaborate on research projects or even writing papers. Of course, I'm sure we are all familiar with this. The infrastructures are top notch, so you are exposed to the equipment, the facilities that are actually there. Then of course you build collaboration. Then one other good thing here is that once you build confidence, you applied and you are successful, then you begin to look at ERC. ERC is another a highly competitive proposal that you also make in Europe. I'm happy that I think Dr. Malil did something around ERC a couple of days ago. So you should attend any of the programs around this particular. So again, too, it's highly competitive, even within Europe. So anybody could, I think African researchers could also apply to this particular program. So the idea is that once you are done with this, it gives you the confidence to also, apply to this particular, one too. Then, so these are some of the, then what are the advice that I will actually give the applicants? First of all, see, once you apply, once you are funded, the one thing you will see are how much you will be paid. Maybe in terms of family allowance, mobility allowance, or your stipend. You will see that on that particular grant, the contract that you're going to sign. But the truth is that what you see is not what you get. So what I would advise you do is that before you leave your country to Europe, ask your host country or your supervisor to tell you, give an idea of how much tax you pay, because the particular allowance is actually taxable. At least in Europe, it's taxable, so it will be taxed. So you need to have an idea so that you don't get there and thinking, okay, they're going to be paying me €5,000, and you get it, they are paying you something else. Same thing happened to this other guy from Ecuador, because that's one of the testimonies. He said, what they promised was not what is paid. And we made him to realize that, look, it's actually tax. You are going to be taxed one way or the other. So that's one thing I would like to call your attention to, that you need to take care of before you leave your country. Then again, too, for the applicants, try and look for masterclass on proposal writing. Though if you have to pay, please pay. Remember, we said this is highly competitive, program. A lot of the best will apply. So you also need to be at your best before you could get funded. So I would say attend any masterclass. And the good thing here is that EURAXESS Africa is doing a great job in this regard. They have webinars around proposal writing. So I would advise that you attend some of their programs. Again, to MSCA have in this handbook. So if you are already funded, I would advise you to go through this handbook. Even if you are not funded yet, if you are still an applicant, please go through the MSCA handbook. It's actually very informative. You get a lot of information from this particular handbook. Then understand that when you move from your country to Europe, it has to be a two-way thing. The transfer of knowledge shouldn't just be from you alone from the host alone to you. You should also have something in mind that you also want to give to the host organization. Meaning, there has to be a skill. There has to be a skill that you have that you also like to share with the host organization. This is also very important. As a matter of fact, within your application, you are also going to write that. What exactly are you going to be doing for the host organization? This has to be stated clearly. In fact, this is also one of the things that the reviewers will also look at. Because remember, the application talks about independent researcher. It's meaning you're already a postdoctoral scholar. So you must have something to offer. Right? So you must also take care of this. Make sure that whatever it is that you want, you also have something you're also giving to the host organization, as a way of giving back. So the next thing here is that feedback. Don't shy away from getting feedbacks. When you have your proposal, beyond giving it to your supervisor, give it to your colleagues. Let them also look at it. Give it to your supervisor within your own country. Let them look at it. So you can get feedback as much as possible. Then again, too, this is also the time to also contact your NCP. This is also one of their jobs. Go online, go to that funding and tenders platform of the European Commission. You will see where you could get your MSCA contact points. Go there, look for the one with your country, try and reach out to them, and they will be able to advise you and even help you reshape your proposal as it is. Then towards the end, please don't forget to also do the final check before you submit. Though the thing here is that you are not the one that will submit, your host organization will submit on your behalf. But at least before you send the final copy to the host organization, make sure you look at it very well before you submit. Then one thing that's also very important is what they call ethical consideration. Because in many instances, when you are going to carry out research, most especially in the natural sciences, you may be doing something that will involve some ethical concerns. You must state clearly within your proposal, how do you intend to address it? Then again, too, how do you collect your data? Because this is also something I found challenging when I was doing mine. When I got to Europe, I later found out that it's going to be very difficult for me to collect data from home. And the reason is this. They felt if I go back home to collect data, getting the cost reimbursed will be difficult. You remember the way we do things here. For instance, now, if I decided to go from where I am now to Lagos or to Abuja, for instance, in many instances, I'm going to take the public transport. The question is, how many public transport has receipt that will actually be able to say that I actually went from point A to point B? So reimbursement becomes an issue. So we have to do a lot of things before I actually come back home to collect data. So I will say that if you're applying, be sure how you intend to do that. Discuss that with your supervisor. Be sure that you have an agreement on how you're going to go around that. But better still, if you can use secondary data, it's also fine. If you can just go to Europe, so take all your data, go there and do the analysis. That's also doable. Then again, so you're also going to go there to carry out your lab work in Europe. It's also fine. But make sure that you actually address all the ethical issues within that particular project. And accommodation is also very important. Again, I had issues with accommodation while I was moving from Nigeria to Europe. The issue is that I had to stay in a hotel more or less, before I could get, an accommodation. So again, I would say you discuss this with your supervisor before you leave. Make sure accommodation is secured for you before you actually leave home. The reason is that if you go sleep in an hotel, you see how expensive that is, and that will be taken from your grant. Nobody's going to pay you, for that. So it's going to be taken from your grant. So you need to take care of that before you actually leave home. Then there are some other issues, bureaucracy, that may be applicable to where you are going that you may not be aware of. You need to make sure that you discuss that with your supervisor before you actually leave. In Italy now, for instance, that's what they call declaration of value. I had issues collecting this particular, documents. And what it does is that it should reduce the tax that you pay in Italy, for instance. So meaning you need to be able to, they must be able to verify that you are actually a scholar. Though I find that, funny because for me to actually go there, it means I already have a PhD. But they still want you to verify the PhD. They want to verify the master's degree. They want to verify your BSc degree before you leave. So if you don't do that before you leave, it's going to be a bit tough before you be able to, do that. Then once you are there, please network as much as you can. Network with researchers that are there before you actually, come back home. Then at the same time too, that's what they call an affiliation. So I don't know if your host organization has this, you could ask them that while I'm back home, can I also be affiliated to you? Because that will also help boost your career in a way. Meaning, if they have a research project they are working on, they may want to invite you. If you are writing a paper they want you to partake in, they may also be able to invite you. As we speak, actually, I'm currently working with my supervisor on a chapter in a book as we speak. So that again helps a lot. So I would advise that you set up affiliation, with your host institution if you can. Then again, so of course, please subscribe to EURAXESS Africa. There is a lot of information in that particular, on that particular portal. I'm sure you'll be glad you did. So I already said this earlier. Don't be too, ambitious. It's good to be ambitious, but don't be too, ambitious. Be as moderate as you can. The idea is that can you execute what you are putting in your proposal? That's the idea. Can you do it, and can you do it very well? Then is it also beyond the state of the art, so to speak? This is actually so very. Then your CV must be competitive. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it must become. And how do you make it competitive? Do that because whatever that is relevant that you can put on your CV, please put it. Of course, don't put irrelevant, what is irrelevant on your CV. Whatever you have done, please put it. Whatever you have not done, please don't put it. Because again, too, I told you, reviewers, they are trained. They can read through and know whether you are just, being overly ambitious, or not. So, but again, whatever it is that you think is important that you can put. For instance, now, if you have led a project before, please put it in your CV. If you work within a particular project team that won many grants, please put that in your CV. That will make you a bit more competitive in your work. So this is what I would say, as a concluding remark. I know it's competitive, but please don't give up too easily. Keep trying until you succeed. If some people are doing it, it can be done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Maruf, for this nice presentation. I think you already cover all things about the participation of on MSCA, and I think now it's time to move to Q&A session. And me and my colleague Fana, we will manage to do that. And first of all, we will allow some live questions. And perhaps if we have some questions already there in Q&A, yeah, we have a lot of questions. So, okay, please, we will allow some live questions, and we can start with the first question from Lebohang. Please raise your hand if you want to ask questions. We have Julius also, and we have Adesina. We have John Akani. we have also Brahim Datijo. Okay, we have now 5 questions. Let's start with the first. If you can stop sharing your screen, Dr. Marouf. And let's start by the first question from Lebohang. Lebohang, please open your mic and present yourself, from which country, and ask the question, please. Go ahead.
Morning.
Good morning.
If you can hear me.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Lebohang Adikalakala. I am attending from Lesotho
Okay.
at a local institution of science and technology called the Lorotoli Polytechnic. Other than that, I don't have any immediate questions. There was just a lot of information that I was not familiar with. I've taken a lot of notes. I think I need to go through it, and then I will see after if I do have some questions. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, thanks a lot. So we move to Adesina. Adesina.
I want to really appreciate
Yes.
I want to appreciate EURAXESS Africa. I want to appreciate the whole ERC for making this one available. It is timely. It is also intriguing. I love it. I think it is to push Africa to the next stage in imparting the world. The new world is talking about the skill gap between what we teach our students in primary, secondary, and tertiary institution. And now can we bridge it so that our graduates at tertiary institution can be more employable and they become more entrepreneurial. I think this push is highly expedient. That's what I want to say. The question I have, I've posted it before. I posted it to the wall. I want to re-emphasize it. I have 2 conferences, one in Belgium in Europe, another one in Australia. One is coming up in September, another one in November. Can EURAXESS Africa come to my head for international travel grants? Then the second question I have is this MSCA. By the time one is sourcing for collaboration, host country to source out supervisor is an adult task. I've been on it for past 3 months. I've been sending mail, sending my write-up, my proposal intent to apply. I've not gotten any responses. So how can one hasten or activate such kind of response from supervisor so that one can get somebody to supervise one and somebody to submit one proposal for one in the host country?
Okay,
Thank you very much.
If I understand well, your question is related to the host organization. So you ask and you request to have some connections with the host organizations and you don't get a response. This is the question.
That's the second question. My first question focuses on the conferences imminent I have in September and November this year in Australia and in Belgium. How EURAXESS Africa can come to my aid to support me in the international.
Okay. Now I get the question. So for the first question, is not possible because as EURAXESS Africa Hub, we give services for free and we don't give a fund. We promote, of course, funding opportunities, but all funding opportunities comes from European programs like Erasmus Plus, like Horizon Europe, like today MSCA, Pillar 1, ERC, and Pillar 1, Pillar 2. We promote funding opportunities. We give a lot of services. We organize for free practical workshops. We organize for free a lot of events, but we don't give funds to cover your participation in scientific conferences. But in some cases, for example, if you get ERC grants, some eligible, you can use some budget to cover your participation in some scientific conferences. So this is true, but after you get the grant from ERC or other Horizon Europe call of proposal program. So this is the first question. For the second question, usually you should try. So if you contact a host organization and you can get not a response, try to make a lot of connections, not only one, because if you will request to be connected with more than 15 organizations from Europe, of course you will get a minimum of 5 or 6 or 7 response from those organizations. So my advice to you is to try to do that. If not, you can contact us as EURAXESS Africa, and we can connect you on this to these host organizations. I hope that I give you the response for the both questions. I don't know if it is okay for you or not. Okay, let's move to Julius. Julius.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. It's one of the opportunities I've been looking forward to, and I thank you for it comes at this particular time. I personally, I'm just rounding up my PhD. In a couple of weeks, I will have my Fiverr, and I will round up it. So it's timely, and it's also supportive. And of course, before now, I've been following information on EURAXESS. That is very, very informative. But concern the MSCA opportunity for postdoc, really. And my question is, can I get a host in Africa? Maybe, for example, I have a collaborator in South Africa, in one of the universities in South Africa, and I'm a Nigerian. And can that stand as my host, or must it be my host? Must it be one of the European countries? Is it compulsory? That's my question.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Dr. Maruf. You are Dr. Maruf.
Yes. Thank you very
Yes.
much, Dr. Adekola. So, and all the best with your Viva.
Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, no. You can't get host for MSCA individual fellowship. You can't get hosts in Africa countries because see, the host countries are actually divided into two basically. The first are those in Europe, then the other one are the one they call associated, countries. So that is where you could actually get a host. So in many instances, you will have to apply to Europe. Majority of the hosts are actually based in Europe. Unfortunately, majority of the countries in Africa are the one they call third country, and they cannot host, unfortunately. But other MSCA programs, they could be a beneficiary, but they can't actually host, unfortunately. You will have to apply to host in Europe before you could be taken, most especially for the postdoctoral that you're asking for. Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
sorry.
thanks. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, Julius, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. If for example, if I have a collaborator, maybe it's an African but based in Europe, can that also? And
Yes.
it's a senior officer there in one of the universities in Europe.
Yes, of course. Sure.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Sure, yes.
If it is based in Europe, it's okay. Yes.
It's okay. It's fine. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. We move to John Akani. John.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm John Akani from Nigeria.
Yeah. From Nigeria. Okay.
So currently doing research in Oxford University, UK.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some questions. And first, let me first appreciate Dr. Maru for this beautiful presentation. I really enjoyed it. And let me also quickly say this, that please, I would like to, if possible, have his contact so that I can also ask some questions or do some follow-up with him after the program. I think I will appreciate that.
We will do that. We will do that. No problem. Okay.
Now, the first question I have is, I am just a young researcher. I think I finished my PhD like 2 years ago from University of Nigeria. And in the quest for more knowledge or to advance my career, I have to do some series of applications since then. Some of them are not turning positive. And I think I won one fellowship just of recent last year, that is AFOX. I don't know if you are aware of that. That's what the one that brought me to Oxford University this year for just a few months. So I want to please ask, if possible, could there be a kind of a mentoring program organized by EURAXESS for young researchers in Africa? Some of us have a quest to develop ourselves, but we lack mentoring. So we struggles, and sometimes some people along the way, they felt discouraged and they quit from their passion. I want to say, please plead if there could be a means where some established, so to say, researcher can be of help to us as a young researcher, mentor us in our path. So that's my first question. Now, the second question I want to ask is, could there be kind of a short visit? Let me make an example of Nigeria now, where some of us who are working in private universities may not have access to take a leave of absence to say we're going for a year or 2 years research outside the country. What they will tell you is that either you resigned or you go for your postdoc, and I know fully well that when you resign from a work, when you come in hunting for days without job. So could there be kind of a short visit that you can just come for like 2 or 3 months, work together with your collaborators and return back to your country, so that what you have gained in that few months, at least you are developing yourself along the way? So that's my second question. Now, the third question I want to ask is, as I have mentioned earlier on, my question is not becoming too much. Hello?
Yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my third question I want to ask is, currently, as I have mentioned, I'm working with a host in Oxford now. Is it also possible for me to also apply for a postdoc with him? I have a kind of established relationship with him currently now. Can I also apply for a postdoc with him? So
okay,
my questions.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dr. Maruf.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akoni. Those are wonderful, questions. I'll start with the mentorship. I think there are several ways, to that. I also believe maybe Dr. Malik could also, help with that. And I believe they also been doing that. For instance, now they have a lot of webinars around grant writing, for instance. So that could also be some sort of, mentoring, so to speak. And at the same time, you ask whether you could develop a postdoc with your, current host. That's perfectly fine. You can do that. But what you need to establish is whether they have, arrangement for that sort of MSCA within the institution. Because again, even though it's your host, at the same time, it needs to be sure that there will be an office for you when you come. There will be, some sort of, office that you can use when you come. So I will say discuss that with him, let him know about the program, what it contains, and how it works. Then he'll be able to advise you, on that.
I think it was the one that gave me the link of this webinar. So he's aware of
okay, then beautiful. So that means aware of the program. So yes. Of course, please go ahead. And you said you are young, so the maximum is 8 years. So if it's just only 2 years, then you are perfectly fine for that. Then one other thing again is that I should also call your attention to this, maybe everyone too. There's also a limit to the number of time you can spend in Europe, for instance, before you can also apply. So you also need to take that into consideration. When it becomes like a year consecutively, you may not be able to apply. You may have to apply for other programs. So since just like 2-3 months, that's fine. You can still apply for the postdoc. So meaning you go back home, then you come back to to Europe. And good enough now, UK just joined again. In some years back, UK was cut off when they had this referendum, but now I think they are back. So that again, gives you a better opportunity to be able to apply for this Horizon Europe now as it is. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Maruf, for that. So we move now to Ibrahim. That's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Good morning. My name is Ibrahim Detijo, also from Nigeria. I would
Okay.
love to thank Dr. Maruf for this wonderful and nice presentation, which is very educative and also informative. I currently finished my MSc this year, this February. I would love to apply for the PhD program with the EURAXESS. But my main concern is even this the information that Mr. Maru provided is, I think, is too much. I have to digest it. I don't know if Dr. Maruf can drop his email address so that we can we can chat over, because I have to go through the slides and the information he has provided before I can
Yes.
see where to ask questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Ibrahim, so no problem because Dr. Maruf, he is already the national contact point for MSCA in Nigeria. So as NCP, the role is to assist you, to give you all advices in order to enhance the participation of Nigerian researchers in MSCA, of course. So, and we will share all slides in EURAXESS Africa website. So we will get all contacts and all links for sure. If you want to add something, Dr. Maruf?
Yes, yes, please, Dr. Ibrahim, that's true. What Dr. Mali said is correct. So since I'm one of the NCPA, though, that's more or less like my job. So please, anything you need, feel free to ask me. If I'm not in any way to provide, I can always direct you to to the appropriate quarters where you could get the right answers. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. And my advice for all participants for today, please use Google because everything already there. So if you want to have information about a call of proposal, we will see a lot of links, a lot of useful links about the participation and eligibility of participation and everything. And there is a lot of groups and LinkedIn and social media, and there is a website for MSCA.net also. And of course, you should be proactive and you should be connected to the useful source of information. So let's move to now to Ronald. Ronald, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I am Ngom Ronald from Cameroon, but
Okay.
currently I am in US for another fellowship.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. I have two questions actually. The first one is, do we need to wait for a university to launch a project call under the MSCA before we apply? Because I saw that some university actually have like a project call under this fellowship. My second question is, does our proposal should be aligned with the priority of the European under our domain, or could I have a project focused on Africa priority?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Dr. Maruf, I will add something after you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for that question. Yes, of course, you can focus on on Africa. Mine was on Nigeria to be precise. So, and it was funded. So of course, but then at the same time, you need to balance it. There has to be a balance between what you are looking at and what Europe priorities are. In many instances, they have what they call teams. They have something on sustainable development, for instance. They have something on this, on that, on health, on agri. So you also need to look into that and see how you could balance those priorities. Because at the same time, so they are the one providing the fund. You also need to find a way to see how that could also be useful for them. Remember what we said when we're making the presentation? We said it's a two-way thing. So as they are giving you some skills, you also need to be sure that you're also giving them something in return, more or less. So I would say if you something focusing on Africa, that's perfectly fine. You can, you can write proposal along that line, and it will be funded once it meets up with the standard that they are looking for. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dr. Maruf. Just I want to add that for cooperation between EU and Africa and Horizon Europe, we have also the Africa Initiative. And of course, we will have Africa Initiative 3 by the end of this year. And it's a lot of gold topics related to enhancing the cooperation between Africa and Europe, and the participation of African organizations is mandatory. So we have more chance to be there, to be involved in all call of proposal related to Africa Initiative 3, but not as individual, as organization, because it is a collaborative project. So that's, I want just to mention that. Okay, let's move to Alex Tarazu.
Good morning and good afternoon.
Good morning.
I'm Alex. I'm currently in Tanzania. Thank you for a good presentation and great initiative. I have a quick question. Following the discussions and the presentation, I note that there is a concern on how to foster and forge a strong collaboration and partnership. Now, my take is, what are the possibility of developing or creation of an innovative community of researchers? I will not, I purposely not use the community of practice, but I call community of researchers, because in the framework of EURAXESS, I see it is a domain of researchers, and it's a wonderful initiative. But the question I'm bringing, it's about the long-term collaboration and partnership, and how do you maintain that sustainably in connection with the European host base. It seems the base is you need to have a host in Europe, and in connection with Horizon Europe. So because of issues of continuous capacity development, mentorship, training. So I would like to ask, or to put a reflection, that a community of researchers who are now gradually getting onboarding to EURAXESS, and who are now getting on board through webinars, how do we make this network to get further understanding, knowledge and skills, but also to help to get to know each other, and how we can collaborate in research, in different research projects, and that it builds trust and also confidence, but it makes resources more optimal. So you optimize resources and also capacity. So, and also you take an advantage of the long-term capability building. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Alex, for this nice suggestion comes from you. So I think it's good to see such possibilities to make connections with all African researchers and see how to work together. I think, Fana, if you can add something about this and how to use EURAXESS platform to do that. We can think about this this kind of a great and big event to invite all decision makers and all researchers from the whole continent, and see how to use useful data and all I think ways to collaborate more and work together and get opportunities from European Union. So, Fana.
Yeah, I think you already said it's a nice proposal that came from Alex. We don't have this in our 2024 agenda, but definitely we'll think about it, and we'll plan for a coming few years to organize our database, and beyond telling information, we need to really more interactive and more discussing each other and find solutions for African researchers. I think it's really, I'm very much amazed, and it's very, very good recommendation. We'll have a note on this, and we'll further discuss with my colleague Ahmed, and we'll come up with some good ideas. Thank you, Alex, for proposing this idea.
And feel free, Alex, to contact us if you want by email. Feel free to contact us. Let's see how we can move forward and organize this kind of event with great vision for future. So thanks a lot. Let's move to Yusuf.
We are already running out of time. Maybe there are a number of questions and comments on chat box. I don't know. Are you going to give any?
I think just we will allow only one question.
Okay.
And only one question and only one. And let's move. We'll finish all live questions and we'll move to text questions. What do you think, Fana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, Yusuf, if you are here, please open your mic. Yusuf?
Yes, good morning. Yes,
good morning.
I'm Yusuf Babatunde. So I'm also from Nigeria, from University of Ilorin, Civil Engineering Department. Someone asked someone asked that is there any strategy in getting an host supervisor? You know, at times it becomes a kind of an Herculean task in getting an host supervisors. And, you know, one of the ways that you can reach out to them is probably via email or via ResearchGate and the likes, and or LinkedIn. And oftentimes, or most of the times, you tend not to get feedback or reply from them. So, and then, you know, and these kind of things, you know, if you didn't get a reply, it weaken your interest in applying for such application. So if there is any strategy in getting a host supervisor, and you know, and which is a very key in applying for this kind of grant. Thank you. So I have like 3 questions, but since you said it's only one, so let me proceed to that.
Yusuf, only one question. Just if you can repeat the question.
Okay, my question is that can you tell us probably maybe if there is a strategy of getting an host supervisor? Because oftentimes the usual one we know is probably sending emails or reaching out to them via LinkedIn or ResearchGate, and the responses through this platform has not been encouraging.
Okay, I think my advice for you, not only for you but all researchers, is to enhance your visibility as a researcher. So you should have a good LinkedIn account. You should have EURAXESS profile. You can ask for here. You can create your account, and you should have EUROPASS CV, and link this EUROPASS CV with EURAXESS portal. And after this, if you want to be connected with supervisors from the world, from Europe, of course, if you are visible, you will get the response. This is the key to success, the connection between you and supervisors from Europe, is to enhance your visibility as researchers. And this is an advice. We give this advice not only for you, but all researchers, all African researchers, and this is a great thing to do, to prepare everything before starting making connections. And if Dr. Maruf want to add something, feel free, Doctor, to do that. Okay, let's move to Naidu. Lyndon Naidu.
Hi, good day, everyone. I'm Lyndon Naidu from Durban, South Africa. I was actually
Okay.
typing my question in the chat, so I got lucky that I'm on live. So let me be brief. Thank you for the
Yes.
speakers and the chair for allowing us to be in this program. It's actually quite amazing. Okay, so I just want to ask regarding travel. So let's say you secured a host in a European country. Now, is there allowance for us to travel back home to do research there and go back and come home as well? Because there would be research groups in two different places, just out of curiosity. And how would that travel be accounted for? And is that within the grant period? I only have that to ask
Okay. Okay,
regarding the
thanks a lot.
MSCA program for the postdoc one.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, it's clear. Dr. Maruf, the question is,
Thank you
yeah.
very much. That's a good question. Yes, but yes, you will be allowed to, or you could be allowed to go back home, but what is important here is that you need to justify why you want to go back home. And then again, too, you also must have made that provision within your proposal if you can. It's also very important so that you have to link that with your plan. That okay, at so point, I'm going to go back home to do A, B, C, and D. So that you don't just go back home to relax. No, there has to be a reason why you are going back home. And more importantly, you should have stated it in your proposal that at some point, I'm going to be going back home to do this. Because in my own case, I think I went back home twice. The first time was to go and collect data. Another time was to go and disseminate, my results. So, and that was already in the proposal when I was submitting. So that made it a bit easier for me to actually go back home to do those things.
Okay,
Thank you.
so
Thanks
much.
a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Naidu. We move to Fides. Fides?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I joined in the middle. I don't know if it has been responded already, but
Okay.
I think I wanted to ask regarding for us who have just completed PhD this year. So we are like
Okay.
new graduates, PhD graduates, and we look forward
Congratulations for that.
yeah, thanks. We look forward for opportunities of postdoc, but of course I'm a female, so I really need maybe a short one, 2 to 3 months, and then the rest can be visual. So when I saw this opportunity, which was shared by one of my supervisors, so I thought of finding out more like what's the starting point. I know Dr. Ahmed said you can Google, but I know sometimes Googling takes forever. Rather than when I meet people in person, because I mean, like to respond, there's no feedback, two-way feedback. So I wanted to say, what would be the entry point for new PhD graduates? I think there was an indication of 80 years maximum, but I'm like, here is take a new PhD graduate who has just finished, wants to establish herself or himself. And regarding the collaboration that are there, I see a lot of information which I cannot process, like that. So what would be the first things first, and where we can navigate through?
Yes. Okay.
And especially because I know they say, okay, go grab a masterclass word, but I think I really want, do we have some coaches, like some people who have, I think who can who have mentorship at heart, who want to leave a legacy also by mentoring new researchers, because we want to break the barriers. Some of us, we may not have maybe established their mentors at the moment in that arena at the global stage to competitively. I think you say be competitive, CV wise, whatever. So some things are not in black and white. So I really wanted to know if we can have every coaches or mentors who are voluntarily available to mentor early careers or newly PhD graduates in this arena, so that we establish ground.
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear. So you look for the first step after your graduation. So advise you to create your profile in EURAXESS portal. And add all information about you, about your CV, about your thesis, your research. And of course, my colleague Fana, in his presentation, already present that actually we have more than 11,000 job positions for researchers. And for early stage research also. So you can use keywords and you can use filters, and you see there is a lot of opportunities and you can apply. This is the first step. The second step is to apply to funds and apply to opportunities under Horizon Europe. Horizon Europe is the program of European Union dedicated to research and innovation. And in Pillar 1, we have a lot of grants given by European Research Council. And today's webinar is related to MSCA, Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions. And of course, in MSCA, we have a lot of funds and like postdoctoral fellowship. So I give the floor now to Maruf, Dr. Maruf. Dr. Maruf, you can just give some advice to FIDES in order to land the first step.
Thank you very much, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
You are ripe to to apply for MSCA, most especially the postdoc. I think you can do it. As Dr. Malik said, you could beef up your profile, maybe on LinkedIn or EURAXESS Africa or worldwide. That should be fine. Then again, too, I will also, say that you also begin to explore your thesis to write papers, because one of the requirements is also that you are an established researcher, so you must have something to back that up. And one of the things you can use to back it up is to have papers, in good journals. So I would say focus on that, then focus on building yourself. Whatever it is that you need to succeed in your career, that is what you must focus on at the moment. Then, of course, don't forget to go through, the website. Go to EURAXESS Africa. Go to, the funding and tenders, platform that will also give you a lot of opportunities that you can apply to. Of course, if you could also form a team whereby you write grants, because it takes time to win. That's the truth. Because writing grants and winning is an art. You have to develop it. So I would suggest that you form a team around writing proposals. It could be those top granting agencies like IDRC, for instance. Try and write as much as you can. Don't shy away from failing. You're not going to get the first one you write. Well, maybe you can, but in many instances, you really don't get the first one that you write. But over time, you begin to master the art. Then you can begin to win. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks. So let's
Thank
move
you
to
so much. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Fana. Yeah, please. Fana.
I know we are very happy that this session is very, very interactive. We got more than 50 questions in the chat box and so many raised hands. But due to time constraint, I don't think we can go further with this. But maybe I can pick up some of the questions from chat box, and
yes.
Marif and you and myself can also interact a little bit. And most of the question I'd say already addressed during this question and answer discussion. But let me really read some of the questions from the chat box. Is the physical meeting in Lagos, Nigeria, Innovation Day set for July 2024 still open for registration? This is one of the questions. I think I can answer this. Not only for an event in Lagos, but for all upcoming events, we'll advertise, we'll post in our EURAXESS portal and our social media channel. So I think you better keep your eyes on our channels. And we'll share all these important links to register for the event. Another question, does MSCA program only focus on scholars and postgraduate learners in universities only? How about early career researchers in research and science institutions across Africa? I think Maruf can maybe give some comment on this. Did you hear me, Dr. Maruf?
Sorry, please come again. What was the question?
Does this MSCA program only focus in the universities? How about researchers in the research and science innovation across Africa?
No, it's not just for university. If you are from research institute, you can apply. From even private sector, you can also apply once you have the requirements. For instance, now if you are applying for postdoc, you must have your PhD. If you are applying for a doctoral student, then you must be a doctoral student. So, and that goes across whether university, research institute, or private sector.
Exactly. The same applies to doctoral networks, MSCA doctoral networks. Anyone can apply as far as it's in Africa, I mean, from our side. One more question. Hello, I see this session is being recorded. Would we have access to it afterwards? Okay, there are so many questions like this, PowerPoint and recorded videos. So I think it's clear. Yes, right after this event, we'll send you email, or we will also put it in our portal in the social media. So just keep again eyes on our channels. I think there are also many participants asked these questions about the short visit. I think Dr. Maruf and also I also mentioned this. In MSCA, in addition to doctoral networks and postdoctoral fellowship, there is an important program called staff exchange. It's also open at the moment. So this definitely helps you to perform part of your PhD work in Europe or in associated countries, or part of your research, again, in Europe, in a member state, and European and outside the Europe, or what do you call it? Associated countries. So for a short visit for less than 1 year, this is really strongly advisable for researchers to look for it. One more questions. Yes, it's about mentoring. It's already mentioned. So I think with this, I better stop the reading from inbox chats. But still, you can write us an email, and you can write your questions, your comments to africa@euraxess.net. That is me and my colleague Ahmed have access to it. So as much as we can, we try to respond to all of your questions through our email services.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Ahmed.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Fana. I think we come to the end, but we have still two or three questions, and we can stop after. And let's we have Archie Onu. Archie Onu, if you
Hello.
are there. Oh, yeah, please.
Good morning. I'm calling from Nigeria.
Okay.
I appreciate this innovation by EURAXESS, and Dr. Maruf has well spoken. Thank you for making things explicit. Actually, I'm not through with my doctorate program yet. I am doing my doctorate program here in Nigeria in Ebonyi State University. So I want to ask, at what stage of the program can one do the collaboration with the European universities, like having a host and doing a doctoral program with them? At what stage can one apply for such? That is the first question. The second question is, if I am in the humanities.
Okay.
I've heard people talk, some are engineers. Dr. Maruf is an economist, if I'm not mistaken, and so on. And I don't think any of you is in humanities. Do we have opportunities? That's what I want to, the two questions I want to ask.
Okay, thanks a lot. Dr. Maruf?
Thank you very much, Dr. Archie. Well, let me start from the second question. Yes, while I was presenting, I said it's open to all field, and I meant that literally. is open to all fields. Whether you are in humanities, whether you're in natural sciences, whether you're an engineer, you'll be surprised. That it depends on what you are looking at. As a matter of fact, somebody came to me, a few weeks back, and I think the guy is in English or something, no, philosophy, and was asking me that is it possible for him to also apply? I said yes, of course, it's possible for you to actually apply. So it opens to all field. What is important? Once you have the host, then you are good to go. Sorry, the second question. Sorry, the first
actually,
question.
Yes, I talked about at what stage of the doctoral program, because I'm not through yet. Although you address me as doctor, let me believe it's prophetic.
Don't worry, you'll get it very soon. So, see, at the stage,
I'm yet to do my final presentation.
Two things with regards to that. Once you are done, once you completed your PhD and you are sure you have it, then you can apply. Number one. Number two is also that if you are sure about the Viva date that I'm going to complete, because the deadline is in September, right? So if you can complete before that and I'll be sure you have the certificate, then why not? You can apply.
Develop.
The important thing is that by December, you must be a PhD holder. That's what it means. By September.
Okay, but what of the 8 years, postdoc duration that was given?
The 8 years is under 8 years, meaning between the time you obtain your PhD and 8 years after.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Asher. So let's move to we have the final 3 questions, and before end this webinar, Ahmed Idris Hassan. Ahmed Idris.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. I am Ahmed Idris. I'm calling from South Africa, basically from Ethiopia, but working as a research scientist here in South Africa, Pretoria. I just wanted to ask one question related to the staff exchange. So we know that when we say staff exchange, it will be the exchange of staff between a university or an institute in Europe and also South Africa. But as we know, many of the European universities or research institutes are very highly advanced, and we have state-of-the-art laboratories. And so what is the prospect of a European scientist wanting to have a staff exchange between Europe and a scientist working in Africa? Because we know South Africa is very well developed. Many of the universities like the University of Stellenbosch and Cape Town are very high-tech universities, but in most cases in the research institutes, you cannot find, as highly advanced laboratory equipment and all that. Also the scientists also working there, we cannot compare with the European caliber. So what do the European scientists expect in the exchange, in staff exchange? So when a staff is going from Africa to Europe, it's obvious that a lot of skill is learned. And when the staff coming to Africa from Europe, so what is the expectation of the European scientists on that side? Or how does this staff exchange thing work?
Okay, thanks, Ahmed. Thanks for this question. Nice question. Maybe Dr. Maruf, can you respond you? Dr. Maruf?
Sorry, I was answering the chat. Can you come again, please?
Yes.
The last part.
Yeah, the question is related to staff exchange.
Okay.
So if you can just explain
okay.
the goal of
Yes, with regards to staff exchange, I think what the first thing you probably need to do is to, of course, get the concept note ready, and then you need to form a consortium, which usually comprise of somebody in Europe, some people where you are, I don't know whether you're in Africa, so somebody in Africa, for instance, or some institutions in Africa, and sell the idea to them. Once they buy it, then you can now apply. Once you apply, then you can make a call. So a call will come out whereby people, you advertise, then they can now start applying. So I think that's how it works. First of all, the idea is to be very clear. Then get some other people on board. You can check the tenders platform to see who you could collaborate with. Once that is done, then you look for collaborators from Africa too. There's institutions in Africa, the private sector too should also be involved. Once you have those consortium formed, then you can apply. Once you apply, then if you are lucky, then you get funded.
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Maruf. The last, not the last, but okay, we have Abibi. Abibi, are you here? Okay, we move to the final and the last question from Ngozi. Ngozi.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes.
Thank you
Good
for
morning.
the opportunity. And I just said, okay, people have been talking about networking and mentorship. And I put in the chat box that I'm willing and able to volunteer myself for that, because I know that it has helped me a lot in my career. And I know that it will help me a lot to build myself too. I'm interested in applying, and I'll look at the opportunity there. I tried applying 3 years ago. No, sorry, 2 years ago, but I got sidetracked. So I'll resuscitate the application. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Maybe Dr. Maruf, this is the final question comes from our participants. So if you can, Dr. Maruf.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I
This is the final question. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Ngozi was saying that she said, I think that's wonderful. Yeah. You know, she would like to be one of the mentors. That's I think that's fine. That would be nice.
Okay. Just I'm trying to ask you to contact us if you want anytime. EURAXESS Africa at EURAXESS.net. But please, if you have a request, try to be clear in order to be able to assist you and give you the response, not the general questions, but precise your questions. And we try, me and my colleague Fana, to respond to all questions. It's not easy to do that, but we try to do our best. And I think we come to the end now after 2 hours. And this is a good and interactive session. And you see, we have a lot of participants, more than 200 and 250 participants for today. Thanks a lot for you all. And let's work together. This is the key of success. Let's keep connected, and let's be proactive, and let's be have already the information and the useful information, the real time about opportunities to be ready to apply. I want to thank a lot Dr. Maruf for your nice presentation for today, and I give you the floor to the end to the final word for this webinar, Dr. Fana. And please, Fana, the final word for this webinar for you today.
Thank you, my colleague, Dr. Ahmed. It was really very interactive. I think one of the longest and very interactive discussion, info session we had today. It's very, very impressive, and we are very happy had more than, I think it was around 300 active participations. There are so many live questions, so many comments and questions on live on the chat box. So we are really very grateful. Thank you all participants for joining us today. I also really would like to thank our key speaker today, Dr. Maruf Sani. He's always our collaborator, and we're really very grateful for your kind support. I hope we'll look forward for future collaboration with you, EURAXESS Africa. Thank you very much. Looking forward for future collaboration. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Nice presentation.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, Dr. Adifana. Thank